Welcome back to episode 80, and we're looking at Gilmore's legacy in music on that subject. And so Gilmore had obviously passed away, and the big debate at the time was what will happen to Gilmore's band. And the first thought was, this is a 100-piece band. How will it ever be maintained, etc.? Here's an article from Frank Gayen, who was the manager of the St. Louis Exposition, and he's talking about the specialization in Gilmore's band. This is just before his death, and here is an ad for Gilmore's 100 band in the first concert after Gilmore's death. And again, it's in St. Louis Exposition. And they had a huge problem because the overhead was extremely large. Second problem was Gilmore was a personality, even in those days, a personality that on his own would have attracted a crowd. The individual magnetism of the man was incredible. Here's the first appearance of a new band leader. His name was Colonel D.W. Reeves, a highly respected gentleman in American music, and he had actually played in the 1872 Peace Jubilee in Gilmore's World Peace Jubilee in Boston. Here's the actual concert program from that date on October the 29th, 1892 at 8 p.m. And this was a big moment. How would Reeves measure up? How would Reeves attract the membership that was needed? And so on. And as I've noted here, he was the leader of Gilmore's band, but the pressure must have been enormous on this man alone. Prior to his death, Gilmore had been promised as the, if you like, the position of musical director of the Columbian Exposition in the World Jubilee in Chicago. However, after his death, that position was basically given to Sousa. Everything that Gilmore had built up because of Sousa's death now, it would pass on to Sousa and the management of Sousa, who was David Blakely. A dispatch was received in New York on the 21st from Colonel D.W. Reeves, declaring that there was no truth in the published reports of disruption and announcing that the band would appear in New York City on the 27th with unbroken ranks. Again, there were various rumors going around about musicians being attracted by the management of Sousa into the Gilmore ranks, and this continued and right up to 1893 as such, and we see proof of that later on, because what had Gilmore done? He had built up a magnificent number of solos. After Gilmore's death, for instance, posters were produced like this: Gilmore's 100, the greatest band in the world. And in the middle of the back rank of this roster, you see this magnificently massive tuba with Besson, Besson, marked on the side of it. Never did it play with Gilmore's band, as is implied here, with Gilmore in front. However, it was obviously used as as a promotion item. Here's that actual tuba in front of a phenomenal musical store owner and promoter, Mr. Dillon from New Jersey. What a fantastic. Steve Dillon is one of the leading experts on musical instruments in probably the world. And just as a contradiction to the color photograph, here is the 100 piece or band of Gilmore's band from his own program, and there is no mention whatsoever of that huge tuba. Here's another Helicon tuba from, I believe this one is about 1889. So you see the dimensions of the tuba at that time, because they were building on the quality of the music, the expertise, the specialty of the musicians. There was nothing about it that was gimmicky, as we would call it. There was nothing that was kind of out of the ordinary, other than the extent of the program and the skill level of the musicians. So a bandmaster that replaced D.W. Reeves was Victor Herbert. Victor Herbert, an Irishman trained in Germany, of wonderful expertise, an impresario, and he took over this band. Why? Because he knew, this man, by the way, was one of the founders of the New York Philharmonic prior to this, but he took over this band because of the skill level that this band had, and this was a new level of music that Herbert had not experienced before now. Here we have four concerts daily by Gilmore's band under Herbert, and he's proudly the leader of Gilmore's band. P.S. Gilmore was the pioneer of the concert band and created the greatest musical festivals of any bandmaster that ever lived. When he produced the Peace Festival in 1869, he was a magnetic leader and a creator of entertaining his public, as well as attempting the highest classic music as the more musical inclined, and was loved by everybody. There will never be another bandmaster in this world, and he adds, other than of that level, other than Gilmore and Sousa. Sousa was a genius in terms of composition, but in regards performance, in regards innovation, Gilmore was the leader. And I've just passed by a letter that was written by D.W. Reeves in regards all of the musicians that were recruited by Sousa's band to come into that band from Gilmore's band. So we have Lefebvre, we have Shannon, Bode, Clark, Cox, Wadsworth, Stengler, Lacalle, Noyes, Eldon Baker, and Herman Conrad, and more. And it just goes to show you what Gilmore had built up, and built up very carefully, and developed the idea of innovative performance and so on. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's if you like, the first episode of part 1 of Gilmore's legacy. I hope you've enjoyed it, and come back next week, and we'll have some more of how exactly Gilmore's band was remembered. Click like and subscribe, and we'll talk later next week. Bye now.